Hello, it's going to be lesson B2 on equation of a line. I'm basically going to start talking about slope, and slope is sometimes represented by the letter M, and the definition of a slope is a number that represents the inclination of a line. So maybe a line could be like a positive slope because it's going up from left to right. Could also be a negative slope because it's going down from left to right. Could be zero slope, so it would be a horizontal line, or it could be no slope, a vertical line. And over here on the bottom of the page you can see there's a little table here that shows that positive slope, negative slope, zero slope, no slope. Okay, and also here on this little rectangle you can see some of the definitions of slope. Like I said, it can be represented by letter M. If you have a graph, you want to think about slope as rise over run. And if you have order pairs, then you want to think about this formula here: y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Okay. Now let's talk about some definitions. Y-intercept. Y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So for example, if here I had a graph with a line, the y-intercept would be this point right here. Is where the graph or the line touches the y-axis. Okay. And also y-intercept sometimes is represented by the letter B. Okay, equation of a line. Most straight lines will have this format. Okay, when you write it, the equation of that line. So most straight lines will have this format when you write the equation of the line. And the format is the following: a number in front of the x followed by a number without x. The number in front of the x is going to be your slope, and the number without x is going to be your y-intercept. This also could have been written like this, and you might even see it like this too. So it doesn't matter. The number in front of the x is the slope, the number without x is the y-intercept. Okay? This format is often referred as the slope-intercept form. Okay? Now let's look at some graphs right now and see how this all come together. So if we turn to the next page, so let me move this page away from the screen, and let's bring into view the next example, example number 1, where it says find the slope, y-intercept, and the graph of each line. So right here I have a line, and my job is to find the slope. So first thing I need to do is find two good points on the line. A good point on the line would be a point that is on the intersection of the grid line. So let's say I pick this point, and also I pick this point. These are two good points because they're right on the intersection of the grid line. Now that I have them, I'm going to remember the slope is defined as rise over run. Okay, what rise means is your movement up and down, and run is your movement left to right. Okay, so in order to determine your slope, you need to pick one of the points. So let's say I pick the bottom point. And to calculate your slope, you need to move your pencil from your point that you chose to the next point. But you can only move up and down and left to right. So if I was going to go from this point to this point, my rise, how much will be my rise? How much would I have to go up or down? Well, in this case, to go over there, I will have to go up 4 units. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So basically I went up 4, and because I went up 4, that will be positive 4. Okay, so that means my rise is positive 4. And then to go from here to the point, I would have to run these many squares, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went 6, and because I went to the right, that would be a positive 6. So this would be positive 6. that means my rise was positive 4, I went up 4, and I ran 6. Well, can I reduce this fraction? Yes, you can. You can divide both top and bottom by 2, and it'll give you 2/3. And a positive divided by a positive is a positive. So this is a positive slope of 2/3. Okay, what does this mean? This means that the slope of this line is 2/3. That means every time you put a pencil on the line, if you go up 2 units and over 3, you're going to hit the line again. Up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3. So that's why the slope is called a number that represents the inclination of a line, because it's describing that every time you go up 2 units, you run 3 units to the left, to the right, you're going to hit the line again. Okay? Alright? And also, this is a very good way to check if your slope is correct. You just check up 2 over 3. Am I touching the line? Yes. So that means 2/3 is my slope. Now, oftentimes students ask me, what if I had picked the top point? Okay? Would I get the same answer? Well, let's check. If I had picked the top point, to go from the top point to the bottom point, I would have to go down 4 units. So that would be -4. And once I'm there, to get to the point that I want to go, I would have to run 6 units to the left, which would be -6. So -4 divided by -6. Okay, let me write this over here. If we did -4 divided by -6, negative becomes a positive, and if I reduce the fraction, I will get the same answer. So it doesn't matter which points I pick, the slope is always the same, because the inclination of the line is never changing. Okay, and maybe you pick these 2 points, maybe somebody else picked this one and this one. Would they get the same answer? You bet. If they pick these 2 points, you go up 2 over 3. You're still getting the same slope. Okay? Alright, so basically, we found our slope. Now let's find our y-intercept. Y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So where does this line cross the y-axis? Right here. And what point is that? 1, 2, 3. So the y-intercept is at 3. And the last thing we need to do is write the equation of the line. So remember that form that says y equals mx plus b. And all we have to do is plug it in. The slope we found to be 2/3. And a y-intercept we found to be a 3. So that means this is our equation of our line. Okay? Alright, now we're going to continue on. Let's try the next problem. Let's suppose I choose 2 good points. So let's say I pick this point and this point. These are 2 good points. And notice that the closer you get the points, that means most likely you're not going to have to reduce the fraction. Okay? Alright? So we pick these 2 points. Now let's decide on, we're going to start from the top. So if I start from the top, I go down 1, so it'd be -1, and I would run 2 units. Okay? I hope I didn't confuse you. Basically what I was saying is, like, if somebody else had picked points that are like far apart, let's say these 2 points right here, what I was trying to say is that if you pick points too far apart, basically you're going to get a fraction, and then you're going to have to reduce. So like notice here, if I pick these 2 points, I would have to go down 4, which is -4, and I will have to run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have to run 8. And would I get the same answer? Yes, it would reduce to -1/2. But if you pick the points close together, you won't have to be reducing fractions. Basically, the slope that you pick is going to be the slope in the simplest form. Okay, but it's up to you. Either way is going to give you the right answer. Alright, y-intercept. where does the line crosses the y-axis? Here it crosses at 1, 2, 3. And then let's write the equation of the line. So by equals mx plus b. Then just plug it in. My slope is negative 1/2 x, and my b is 3. So that will be the answer for this problem. Alright, let's go to letter C. Again, let's pick 2 good points. So let's say I pick these 2 good points, and I notice that my rise is going to be up 2, and my run is over 1. So my slope is just 2, because 2 divided by 1 is 2. My y-intercept is this point right here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my y-intercept is 6. So the equation of my line is going to be y equals mx plus b. And if I plug it in, my slope is 2x, and my b is 6. Alright, let's go on to the problem letter D. Alright, there's problem letter D. Again, let's pick 2 good points. So I have this point here and this point right there. And if I start from the top, I'm going to go down 3 and over 2. So down 3 over 2. You can always double check. Down 3 over 2, down 3 over 2. I'm always hitting the line. So that's a confirmation that my slope is correct. Alright, let's do the B. Where does the line crosses the x-axis? The y-axis crosses right here, which is positive 9. So my equation is going to be y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 9. Alright, let's go on to letter F. Just fix this. Alright, letter F. The slope, we know that horizontal lines have 0 slope. On this example, I'm just going to demonstrate why the reason why is 0 slope. But if you just want to remember that any horizontal line is 0, I'm fine with that. You can just put a 0 right there. Okay, but I also like for you to know why is it 0. The reason why is 0 is because you pick any two good points. So here I pick 2, and basically we say, what is my rise if I go from here to there? Well, my rise would be 0 because I don't go up nor down. I just stay put. But my run would be 1, 2, so it would be 0 over 2, and 0 divided by 2 is 0. So that's why my slope is 0. And my y-intercept, if you notice, the line touches the y-axis at number 4. So when I plug it into the formula, y equals mx plus b, my m is 0x and my b is 4. Now, do I have to write the 0x? No, I don't. So in other words, the 0 can become invisible there because 0 times x is 0. So then you can write y equals 4. Alright, let's go on to the next one. The next one, similar to the previous one, you can just remember the definition. Any vertical lines, the slope, it doesn't have a slope, so it's called undefined or no slope. Well, let me show you the reason why. Let's say I pick 2 good points. So let's say I pick these 2. Let's say I start from the top. So from the top to go to the bottom point, my rise would have to be negative 3. So I'll go down 3, and my run is I don't have to go anywhere because I'm already there at the point. So my run will be 0. Now anytime you try to divide a number by 0, the answer is undefined. It's not possible. You cannot divide by 0. Okay, so we write no slope, or you can write undefined. And as you can see here, this line never touches the y-axis. So my y-intercept is not applicable because I'll never touch the y-axis. So I don't have my m, I don't have my b. So how do I write the equation of the line? This is a special case where you're just going to write x, and here in this case the x equals -7. So what does that mean? That the line is all the points where x equals -7. So that's why we draw a line up and down. Okay? Alright, very well. Let's go on to the next problem. Alright, the next set of problems is still dealing with slope, but at this time we're not going to have a graph. What we have instead are order pairs. Okay? Now if I had a graph, I could plot those points and find the slope. But let's assume I don't have a graph available. How can I find the slope? That's where that formula that I mentioned before comes into play. The formula that says y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So basically what you're going to do is label these points x1, y1, x2, y2. And then all you have to do is plug it in as the formula calls it. The formula tells us to write y2 first, so we write -1. Then the formula tells us to put a minus, we put a minus. And then the formula tells us to put y1, which in this case is -5. Now, we're going to do the bottom one, which is x2, which happens to be 1, minus x1, which happens to be 3. Now, a negative becomes a positive, so -1 plus 5 is +4, and 1 minus 3 is -2. And 4 divided by -2 is -2. So that means my slope is -2. Alright, so let's go on to the next problem. So every time I'm learning a new formula, I like to write it down, so you notice that I'll write it quite often. But if you feel comfortable with the formula and you don't want to write the formula and just go directly into writing the numbers, that's fine. Okay? But you will see that most of the time I will write the formulas. Okay? But sometimes I won't. Okay? But at the beginning I will. Y2, I'll label the letters first. Okay? Then let's plug it in. So y2 is 4 minus y1, which is 4, and then we have x2, which is -7, minus x1, which is 5. 4 minus 4 is 0. -7, -5. You would add, would be -12. But 0 divided by 12 is 0. Okay, so basically if I was to graph these 2 points, they would make a horizontal line. Alright, let's try the next one. So this would be y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Sorry, I'm writing, you cannot see. Alright, let me fix this here. There we go. Alright. Let's plug it in the numbers. Label the points. So x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 is going to be 10 minus 4, and x2 is going to be 9 minus 8. So 10 minus 4 is 6. 9 minus 8 is 1. And that will become 6. Okay. Alright, let's go on to the next one. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. So we're going to plug it in the numbers, and this time I'm not going to write the formula. I'm just going to remember it in my head. So the formula calls for y2, so I write 5 minus y1, which is 2, and then it would be negative 3 minus 3. Now notice that both negatives becomes a positive, so this becomes 3 over 0. And when I divide by 0, that's not possible, that's undefined, or you can just write no slope. Okay. Alright, now on a test or quiz, if you wrote the answer as this is incomplete. I want to see this. I want to see that you know that this is no slope. As well as here, when you have 0 on top, I want to see that the final answer is a 0. Okay? So please remember, if the 0 is on top, is 0. If the 0 is on the bottom, is no slope. Okay? Let's go on to the next one. Then I'm going to have the slope. This is x1, y1, x2, y2. The formula tells us to do y2, which is 4, minus the y1, which is negative 2. Then I have x2, which is negative 3, minus 6. Now the two negatives becomes a positive, so 4 plus 2 is 6. And negative 3 minus 6 is negative 9. And can I reduce this fraction? Yes, I can. It becomes negative 2/3. Alright. If you like, you can go ahead and stop the video and try the next problems. And then when you finish, restart the problem. So try the next 4 problems. Okay, welcome back. You tried the next 4 problems, so let's see what you got. Basically, in this case, you would write 2 minus 2 over 3 minus 5. So 2 minus 2 is 0. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. And 0 divided by negative 2 is 0. Alright, the next one would be 5 minus 1. Negative 3 minus 7. So this will become 4 over negative 10. And a positive divided by a negative is a negative. And I can reduce this fraction to 2/5 because 2 goes into 4 and 2 goes into 10. Alright, let's go to letter H. Okay, the slope's going to be negative 5 minus 3. And negative 4 minus 2. The double negatives becomes a positive. So this would be negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. And negative 2 divided by negative 2 is positive 1. Alright. So let's go on to the next problem, which is letter I. And here you're going to have m equals negative 1 minus 5 over 1 minus 3. The double negatives here becomes a positive, so negative 1 plus 5 is positive 4, and 1 minus 3 is negative 2, and 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. Alright, so this concludes the lesson B2, and here you have your assignment. It's a handout that you can print out from the website. Okay, thank you very much for your time, and have a great day. Bye.